I always think that we are so blessed to live in an environment now where any one of us, if we choose this, can be a practitioner of Dhamma. We can take the place of someone who's just curious, who's slightly interested, who's read some New Age or some popular spirituality books and thinks this would be a nice thing to do. Or we can develop that and become a student, someone who, although not fully committed, enjoys reading about and possibly listening to Dhamma talks and even attending retreats. But to be like a fair weather meditator. When it's convenient, we can meditate. When it's not convenient, when there's something good on television or something more interesting being offered, we can do that. Or we can take the position of the disciple of Dhamma, the one who says, this is the most important thing in my life, to understand the reality of this being that we call self. So my difficulties and my problems and my concerns, my anxieties, my fears, my doubts, my worries, they really begin to fall away. So there's nothing left for them to hold on to. So what we have now is life arising moment after moment after moment, and then this wise and loving response to all those different moments. Not grasping at something, not rejecting something, not trying to hold on to something, but simply being with these different moments of life and of our own existence as they manifest, and to be at peace with that. So at one time, somebody approached the Buddha and said, when people come to you and ask you for training, you see, I always think this must be so wonderful. For me, I feel completely blessed that I had this possibility for 22 years to train with a man, a Theravada Buddhist monk, who at the end of our time, before he died, of course, I was with him in his room and he said, you know, Michael, I never tried to teach you Buddhism, only Dhamma, only Dhamma. The expression of the heart that's not confused with desires and fears. Only Dhamma. Buddhism, I think, is something quite lovely. I have enjoyed it. But it's not the point of it to become a Buddhist, but to understand the nature, the true nature of this being that we call self. And to do that, we have the things that we need. We have the meditation practice. This meditation practice we use is called vipassana. Vipassana means to see things as they really are, not as the mind projects them to be. And it says, don't believe what the teacher tells you either, but test it for yourself. And I spent, as I just said, 22 years with a man who would give me Dhamma teachings. And then almost, he didn't really say this, but almost, so off you go now. Go and test this in your life to see if it works. To see, is your life better when you cultivate loving kindness? The answer is yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Is your life better when you cultivate awareness so you're no longer being deluded or just following the mind, just running after the mind? Like a dog chasing a car. And the answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. So we begin to understand, and that understanding sets us free from this grip of this ego or self-identity. We let go and let go and let go. This gentle, joyful opening of the heart. So we understand the reality, not only of this being that we call self, but of all beings. Once we understand this being, we understand all beings. And so then all our judgments fall away. All our ideas of who's better, who's worse, who's right, who's wrong, they fall away. The reason the world is, the way we see the world now, the reason it is the way it is because it's occupied by unawakened beings. Just following their desires, following their fear. So we take this position of disciple. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to commit in a gentle and loving way to understanding this being that we call self. So at one time, a man went to the Buddha. He said, when people come to you to train, what do? What do you tell them? And the Buddha said, well, I tell them what they should do. How beautiful is that? When we come to a Dhamma master, Even if we don't do it physically, at least symbolically, we kneel in front, we put our hands together and say, please teach me, please show me the way. I'm old now, I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. Who knows how old people can be? And I've lived all my life, and I've done all the things that my culture, my society, and my gender told me I should do in order to find happiness. But I didn't find happiness. Oh, there were moments of it, of course, but they all fell away. And then I found myself looking for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So please, in all humility, tell me what I need to do. And so then the training begins. This is what you need to do. You need to, first of all, prioritize the importance of this. If you don't prioritize the importance of your Dhamma practice, then it's just one more thing in a list of things all day, every day. And the beautiful thing about Dhamma practice is you can apply it to everything, whether you're sitting, standing, walking, or lying down, whether you're at work or with your partner, whether you're alone. You can cultivate awareness of this mind, of the thoughts, the moods, the feelings, the emotions. You can recognize however you feel right now in this moment won't last. The nature of all phenomena is to be impermanent. It's the teaching of anicca. And that to try to hold on to something is futile. To try to push something away is futile. So we be with these things and allow them to exhaust themselves slowly, gently, and beautifully. We let go and let go and let go. And as this famous Thai master Ajahn Chah said, if you let go a little, there's a little peace. And that's where we start. We start by letting go a little. And if you let go a lot, there's a lot of peace. So this is the continuation of the journey. And if we let go completely, complete peace. Complete peace arising from a mind no longer at war with itself, choosing, I want this, I don't want that, I must have this, I must not have that. And we're at peace with all these things. We see these thoughts, moods, feelings, emotions, opinions, ideas, just like clouds passing through the sky. And to each one we can say, this is not me, it's not mine, it's not what I am, but it is something I can be aware of. And that awareness will take us to freedom, to see the nature that everything is impermanent. And it's not you, it's not yours, and it's not what you are. So this man went to the Buddha, he said, so what do you do? He said, I tell them what they should do. This is what we should do. We should cultivate a practice that we call meditation. And we should prioritize that. And the practice that we use here is called vipassana. Vipassana means to see clearly, to see beyond what the mind presents. But coupled with that, in harmony with that, is the second part of the practice, which is called metta bhavana, the cultivation of a loving heart. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you have to like everyone. It doesn't mean you have to like all the things that until this moment you didn't like, or you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like, but you can be at peace with all of it once you make the space. So dharmic love is not like romantic love. The romantic love is an attachment, an identification with my children, my wife, my friends, my football team, my country. It's an identification with something. And because of that identification, of course, we struggle. If our football team loses, we feel bad. If our wife or our husband or our partner is ill, then we have a concern, same with our children, etc. And our pets, of course. Whereas metta means a non-attached relationship to all beings, so that we can enjoy the pleasant things when they come without grasping, without trying to hold on to them. And we can be at peace with the unpleasant things and just be with them until they pass away by themselves, which is the nature of all phenomena. So the difference is that loving kindness does not make demands on the world that it should be a particular way to always please you. And that's the demand we make in life. From the weather, to our work colleagues, to our family, to ourselves. I don't want to feel like this. I want to feel happy. I want to feel light. I want to feel joyful, or whatever. These endless demands we make. But our metta practice is the unraveling of that so that we can be with things as they are comfortably and then respond from wisdom rather than from fear or anxiety or stress. That we do what we're supposed to do. We just do what we're supposed to do and we let everything else fall away. This is the beauty of the discipleship of Dhamma practice, that we bring ourselves to this place where we decide, this is the most important thing in my life. This, to no longer be deluded by what my mind, I say my mind, but the mind is more accurate, to no longer be deluded by what the mind presents as reality. So the Buddha replied, well, I tell people what they should do. This, we start with the meditation practice, and then we take that out into every aspect of life. The whole teaching is incredibly simple. It's just not easy. The whole teaching is live with love and be aware. Two things, which actually become one thing. But to live with love and to be aware. And you can use that practice wherever you are, whenever you are. You only have to turn your attention to it. I have lived in a monastery and I have worked in a factory. I worked in a factory for 11 years. Actually, if I reflect now, I wouldn't want to say which was the better teacher. They both showed me myself. They both showed me the conditions for my struggle with life. So we put our hands together. Thank you, universe, for this gift, for this Devadutta of showing me where my happiness and unhappiness really begin and end. So we take our practice, we begin with sitting, and then we take it into our life, into our relationships, where we're not grasping and demanding that everything we meet should be a particular way to please and satisfy us. And this is the practice of letting go. If we let go a little, there's a little peace. If we let go a lot, there's a lot of peace. If we let go completely, complete peace. So the Buddha was asked, so what do you tell them? He said, I tell them what they should do, which is the things that I'm sharing with you now. But the man followed with his question. He said, well, what if they don't do that? What if they don't follow your advice or your teaching? What then? And the Buddha said, well, then I tell them what they should not do. So we take the other view. Don't do these things because they don't take you to happiness. Don't spend your life looking for happiness in this world, this samsaric world out here. There are moments of it, millions of moments, but nothing lasting. This was the Buddha's struggle from Gautama the ascetic to Gautama the Buddha, the awakened one. He was looking for this, and we hear people speaking like this, the bliss of awakening. This is nonsense to speak in this way. When all fear has fallen away, when all desire has fallen away, that's the awakening. How does it feel? When the Buddha was asked, he said, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how it feels. You have to experience it to know it. But it's not a special feeling. Like love itself, when I speak about metta bhavana, this feeling of love is only any feeling you have that has no fear attached to it. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. So the Buddha said, I tell them what they should not do. Don't spend your life, enjoy the world, but don't spend your whole life looking for happiness in it. A permanent, lasting happiness, because it's not there. It's not there. The happiness you seek, the love you seek is here. Well, we know this. Our Dharma journey is an internal journey. You don't have to go to India or China or Tibet or Japan, Thailand or Burma. You can stay here. You can stay in your own country. You can just find a quiet place in your bedroom. Sit on a cushion or a chair or a stool. Bring your attention to the breath. This natural rhythm of life, the breath comes in, the breath goes out. Just put your attention on that. And when the mind arises, just be aware. Oh yes, thinking. Okay, back to the breath. Anxiety. An old friend of mine. Back to the breath. This is called, in Buddhist teaching, in the Theravada tradition, which is where I trained, this is called the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification. to purify the mind, not by doing something, not by trying to amputate particular thoughts, moods, feelings, and emotions, but being at peace with them. Because for everything to continue to return to become a habit, a bahula karma in our life, we have to interact with them. We have to indulge or repress them, either way. But if we just are accepting, then their energy falls away by itself and we're left in peace. And then we begin to see, oh yes, anxiety, it's just a moment of mind. It just arises due to conditions. Fear, oh, it's just a moment of mind. It just arises due to conditions. Oh, happiness, it's just a moment of mind. It just arises due to conditions. And all those conditions are external to me. They're triggers for what I carry inside me. So the Buddha said, so I tell them what they should not do. And we can, we have the Panchasila, how to live in the world that is not going to give us greater difficulties. This moral code. These are things that we should not do. Don't harm other beings. Don't kill other beings. Don't steal or take anything that hasn't been offered to you. Don't manipulate or abuse other people or beings. Don't use your speech in cruel or harmful ways. And don't take drugs that change the consciousness. Now, whether you do these things or not, that's entirely up to you. There's no concept of reward and punishment. Only a concept, in fact, not a concept, but a teaching of consequence. You meet the consequence of what you empower. And it's inescapable. But it's all right. It's all right. So the Dhamma teaching is to empower love. Empower beauty in your life. It's better for you, it's better for the world. So the Buddha was asked, so what do, if they don't do what you originally tell them to do, what then? Then I tell them what they should not do. But then the questioner said, and what if they don't listen to that? And the Buddha said, then they have to leave. Because they're not ready. They're not ready for training. When you go to the master, when you sit in front of the master, you're not having a conversation. You're asking a question. And the question is always the same question. How can I be happy? That's what people want. And we have to understand that happiness is an umbrella word, and it's about what we're really asking is, how can I be secure? How can I feel comfortable in my life? How can I not be disturbed by the things I don't control, which is everything? So you're not in a conversation. You sit in front of the teacher, you say, please may I ask you a question? And then you ask your question. And the teacher, and the answer very often comes from a direction that you have not anticipated. But everything in your life is about you. It's not about when people say, well, I want to speak to you, I'd like to speak to you about my sister or my brother or my father, my mother, my work. No, that's not who you're speaking about. You're speaking about you. You're speaking about the difficulty you have being in some kind of relationship with this person. So that's good. Because it's unlikely you can change them, but I can offer something that can help you come to peace with yourself. But not everybody wants that, of course not. And so I said at the beginning, we have these different levels. We have the curious. So if you're curious, maybe you hear this and think, it's not for me. If you're a student of spirituality, perhaps you think, well, yeah, that's okay. But not just now. No, I'm going to go with my friends now and do something else. Or you're the disciple and you say, this is the Dhamma I have been waiting for. That the practice is there for me whenever I want it. I don't have to go somewhere else. I only have to remind myself to be loving to myself, to be accepting of myself, and then to be accepting of all beings, and then respond. Of course, you must always respond. Never put yourself in the place of being the victim. Never. Never. So we take this position of being the disciple, to live with love and to be aware, to cultivate awareness. The awareness is called vipassana bhavana. Bhavana means cultivation, to grow something, to cultivate. So we cultivate awareness. So we're no longer deluded by what the mind presents as reality. We cultivate love, metta bhavana, so that we can be at peace with ourselves and then with the universe as it's manifesting. But it's not for everyone. But nevertheless, we wish all beings peace and happiness in their life. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy and secure. May their hearts be wholesome. Whatever living beings there may be, feeble or strong, tall, stout or medium, long, short or small, seen or unseen, those dwelling far or near, those who are born and those who are to be born, may all beings, without exception, be happy-minded. So I offer this for your consideration and your reflection, and may you all be well